Hello guys, I am Ramprakash. In last class we have seen Android architecture and how internally it works. Now we will see a few things about activity lifecycle. Right? So generally, what is an activity and how its lifecycle will be. Every single screen in Android can be an activity. For every single screen in Android, we have two things. One is Java file as well as XML file. Whereas this Java file is nothing but an activity file, whereas this XML is nothing but a layout file. Right? So there are few steps to create an activity. For example, the main first step to create an activity class is android.app.activity. Why we have to make it as only android.app.activity as a class? Why not with any other name? And in that basically we are having main class as main activity. So before understanding this question, we will see the life cycle of activity, right? So there are four states in activity life cycle. So there are four states in activity life cycle. Whereas the first state is activity doesn't exist. Activity doesn't exist. The second state is foreground, that is activity is in foreground. And the next third state is activity is in background. Activity is background. And finally the last state is past state. So we are having four states, that is activity doesn't exist, activity is in foreground, activity is in background, and activity is in past state. Other than for these four states, we are having seven major methods, that is on create. The first method is on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, on restart, on destroy. So these are the seven major methods that we are using in this life cycle, right? So let me explain all these seven methods with four states with a simple example. Let us consider I have opened one application called like WhatsApp. I have opened an application called WhatsApp. So initially I didn't open that application, simply I am on menu. I am on the menu. So that means the activity is in first state, that is doesn't exist state. Once I click it, now the application is opens and it is in your foreground. That means you are able to see the application. Now the application comes from doesn't exist state to foreground state. Now the application comes from doesn't exist state to foreground state. To come from doesn't exist state to foreground state, it creates three methods. It activates three methods, that is on create, on start, as well as on resume. As we have seen seven methods, these three methods will act activates when the state comes from doesn't exist to foreground, right? Now where we have opened an application, that is WhatsApp application. As it is in foreground, it comes from doesn't exist state to foreground state, right? Now a little bit will go in deeper. In the WhatsApp or else in whatever it may be, any other application, when you open some other link on your application, when you open some other link in application, like in WhatsApp you may go to status or else you may go to settings, profile picture, like that, definitely the screen automatically changes from menu to status, or menu to settings, or menu to a profile pic, isn't it? That means some other activity is entering to foreground and the current visible activity is entering into background state. I repeat again, some other activity what you have clicked enters to foreground and the current visibility activity enters to background, right? At this time, this state changes from foreground to background state. In between this, it accesses a method called onPass as well as onStop method. So it is passing the current visible state and it is sending to background, as well as it is stopping the method. It is not destroying, it is just stopping. Okay, now we are in third step, as the current visibility state goes to background, and anyhow we are seeing in the new state, that is in foreground. Now unfortunately screen becomes off, or else a call came, a message came, some notification came. Then what happens means definitely the current visible state which is you are seeing in the foreground, as well as the previous state which is in background state, it doesn't destroys when you get a call or message, whatever it may be, right? So it calls a onPass method again if it comes to foreground, or else it calls to onResume method after disconnecting your call. So it activates onResume. So I should not write here, actually it is in a past state. On resume. So after after the call or else after the message, again your activity will resume by using a method called on resume. Now, as I mentioned in a previous class, like in Android stack, all the things will be in a top of the stack. The current activity what you are accessing will be in the top of the stack, but it doesn't destroys the activity. When it destroys the activity, that is on destroy. When it destroys the activity means once you click the back button, on your mobile, the current foreground activity destroys and the background activity will becomes as current visible activity. When it destroys, once if you click back button on your mobile, the current foreground activity destroys, as well as the background activity becomes the current visible activity. This is the entire life cycle of these 4 states, that is doesn't exist, foreground, background, pass, with the 7 methods called on, create, start, resume, pass, stop, restart and destroy. Now this is the entire life cycle. Now who will manage all these things, all this life cycle and 4 states? Who will manage all these things? You have to manage by creating one class, that is android.app.activity. Android.app.activity. Now through this activity you will get all the properties of these states. That means which method will call first, as and main method, main activity, whatever it may be, each and everything will have properties in this Android.app.activity. Now, later after a few sessions, like after 1 or 2 sessions, I will explain you in practical how onCreate will be written and how the XML file will be written, each and everything. Right? In the next class, we will see the entire Android project structure. Later we will see one sample hello world program.